performance. Hello.
I totally
Hello to
did
the
that.
other people that are joining us also.
Yes.
Feel free to comment in the chat section. You can private comment on a few things, which I've seen a few of you do. You can comment to the whole group if you would like. So those that are private messaging, we're the only ones that see that. If you want to group chats in your drop down message, you can also ask a question at any time, and in a space, we'll go ahead and answer that live.
Yes.
So
we'll most likely answer all the questions at the end, unless we were going to get to that anyway. And so then you'll get your answer as we go. So I want to talk about this first to start. What is the number one reason you joined children's ministry? Some of you are going to have to think way back. Some of you, it's not that long ago. But what was the thing that was burning in your heart that made you say, yes, I want to be in children's ministry? Put that right now into the chat window if you feel comfortable with that.
And you can do it privately if you want. I will say, God called me to children's ministry. I was ministering to college-age kids at the time. And he called me to children's ministry, and I laughed out loud in the middle of a Bible class and stopped the class. But I did what he said, and there's no looking back. I honestly believe now, 12 years later, that it is one of the most important ministries happening worldwide is the ministry to children. So a little background on why we do what we do, but then I met this guy who had been in children's ministry since he graduated children's ministry.
I did. I was at a youth camp, and I felt we were having a prayer time, and the guy that was leading it said, I really feel like we should ask God what he wants us to be when we get older, because why wait until we're older to begin preparing for it now? And so I was like, okay. And so I started for training, and that's what God said, children's ministry. So I got back from that camp. I was in 7th grade. I went to our children's pastor. I said, hey, this is what happened at camp. I felt like God said I'm going to do children's ministry, so plug me in. Yeah, Pastor Greg Permanent, Minnesota, Fergus Falls, Minnesota. He's amazing. He's still there.
But I see like Wendy again with the stubborn. That's how I was really at first, because I was not the babysitter. I did not like kids. I didn't even go down the same aisle as them in a grocery store. So I get it. But once you are in it, and let's just say it's the ministry probably with the least amount of instant gratification, the least amount of accolades. And so the flesh doesn't want to do it either, right? Because you think, I want to be noticed for all the work I'm doing. But we all know, those here tonight, that it is one of the most important, and God has called us to it. And if we don't help each other, we have a whole lot of children's pastors all around drowning in the amount of work that it takes to be a children's pastor. Because when you're invited to children's ministry, nobody tells you all of these things.
Yes, and so you can get so busy. Like I'm looking on my screen because I can read it instead of off the screen on your screen. But like room maintenance and figuring out new games and the scheduling and calling the parents of the kids that weren't there for the last couple of weeks, and babysitting and purchasing and all the things that suck up a ton of time in children's ministry. All that compounds upon you, and it seems like there's new things added all the time until you're having one of these moments. Yes. How many of you have ever had one of those moments?
That's usually after
the
third volunteer is called and canceled, your computer shut down for the second time. You have found out that the curriculum that was fully editable, you had to retype the night before service. I mean, we all know what this is. And then you are Sunday morning, find out someone puked in one of your rooms, right? It's just like, okay, that's it.
And then you get to church, you're finally getting done with service. You're like, yes, it was a good service. And somebody comes up to you and is like, hey, let me draw this great idea for you that you need to do, have it implemented next week, and I'm not going to help you at all with it. I'm just going to pour all these ideas on you and expect to have it done by next week for my kids, because my kids are important to you, right? Yeah, I thought so. You love my kids, so here's what you have to do to entertain my kids.
Your pastor comes back from a conference at a church of 5,000, right? And is telling you all about their amazing children's ministry and the things that he thinks might be good to implement at your church of 200, right? Good heart, he means well, but sometimes that's projected on you as that extra pressure, that extra stress to perform, which none of us us should be thinking anyway, but we all know we do, because we do want to do the best. We do want to put our best foot forward. We do want to do the best for these kids. We do want to set their pace towards him in any way possible. So we start taking these ideas and projecting them as stress in our life, because these good ideas might not be the God idea for what he's called us to do to reach these kids, right? One more room, one more design, one more whatever.
And that's where we found that there's so many children's pastors and those in children's ministry, whether it's a volunteer position or even full-time on staff, that they're doing more and more and more and getting less and less fulfilled, because they're spending all this time doing all these different things and never have the time to get to the things that were on their heart to do when they started in children's ministry in the first place.
Which might be spending time with kids, going to sporting events, visiting their school on pastoral lunch day. Maybe it's writing curriculum for you. Maybe it's designing rooms. Maybe it's processes for disabled kids. You know what I mean? The list goes on. But you said yes to children's ministry. So many of us said yes to children's ministry, but didn't know we were also saying yes to room maintenance, check-in and check-out, new visitor forms, reward and consequence store systems, worship, leading worship. However, I saw someone on here said they were a worship pastor. That's not fair, because most children's pastors have to also lead worship, and we're not worship leaders, right? But you said yes, and then all of these things compounded on top. You're running 4 or more rooms a Sunday. You're raising up volunteers. You're training them. You're ministering to parents. You're ministering to kids. You're preparing services. You're preparing worship. You're preparing object lessons. You're searching. I know I'm not saying anything that all of you don't already know, but there has to be a balance, or else we are never going to truly fulfill what it is God has called so many of us to do, while we keep running on that treadmill that gets us nowhere. Yeah.
So we started asking, how can we help children's pastors? How can we, I like my backwards
and
clock.
We are children's pastors currently.
How can we partner with children's pastors to free up 2 hours a week? What would you do with, let's go crazy. Let's talk about what would you do if you had 4 hours freed up that you knew you could count on every single week to begin to pour into the things that are on your heart to do. Not the things that everybody else is bringing to you, but the things that really make your passion for children's ministry burn, that just ignite your fire for children's ministry, for the kids, for your team.
What would you do? What would you do with 2 to 4 extra hours a week? Just type in the window. What would you do in children's ministry or in your personal time? You know, what would you do if you honestly knew you had 2 to 4 hours a week freed up without compromising the quality of ministry that's in your heart to do? You know, if you really have those hours freed up without compromise, because we all have that guilt that lays in, right? If we take time off, we feel like something's going to be missing from that little bit of time we have to reach these kids that come to church twice a month, right? So all that to say, what would you do? What would you do if you had, someone did a private message, what would you do if you had 2 to 4 hours freed up? And that's why we're here.
Other than wipe away the tears and exaltation.
When we started children's ministry 12 years ago, God had us start writing curriculum. But on Wednesdays, we would try other curriculums. And we looked often like the person that had their head down on the computer. And we're not. Please don't hear us. We're not dogging other curriculums. In fact, we encourage people to incorporate other, because there's so many good pieces of so many different aspects of different curriculums. But so many of them say they're fully editable, and they end up taking easily 25 hours or more a week from whoever is designated over that to prepare it palatably for a whole service on a Sunday. And that to us is unacceptable. There are too many kids and too many families that need the love of God from the pastor. Unless you have an administrative pastor, you're blessed with that, and they can be over that, then the children's pastor is the one doing this also, and not able to follow up with families, not able to follow up with those kids that are going through a divorce situation, not able to follow up with that family that is, struggling in their marriage, not able to follow up with that bullying at school, because what are we doing? We're preparing our Sunday service. We're preparing the next large event. We're preparing the next Christmas program. All good things.
Tackling the rooms.
Right, tackling the rooms that are beat up or used by multiple
or I like this one, or hasn't been updated since the 50s.
Yeah, and your pastor still comes back from the 5,000 and says, we should look like that, right? Again, They mean well, they have a good
Yeah.
heart, but they're not in children's ministry. That's why they've hired us. That's why they've hired you, right? And then we've got to bring that vision into accord with the pastor's vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
In realistic, right? We're not 5,000, we're 200 or whatever. We're what, 350. We came from a church of 5,000 to 250. We had to find that balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually seeing, did you want to share our screen?
Yeah, let's do it. Well, one of the things that we found that have really helped children's pastors, if we can partner with you in bringing order and tools for your team to be able to teach the lessons successfully, where they can go into a room and feel well equipped to be able to capture the kids' attention and lead them all the way through service. So one of the things we've done to do that is the rooms. And so hang on, let me
most of
share
our
my screen
memberships, which we like to call them our Kid Nation locations, they have joined in membership. We help them by not even visiting their location. We help them from where we're at redo their room in structure and order. Now, we believe in all of the churches that we've had an opportunity to visit, because we do a lot on-site work also.
You said do.
All the churches we see, though the intent is well, the rooms are chaotic, not peaceful, and not set up with process structure for success of the volunteer, the average volunteer volunteering once a month, right? You might have those die-hard teachers that can use any room, but on average, your everyday volunteer that you want to bring into your ministry is a once a monther, right? They need to walk into structure, they need to walk into systems that are work and bring them peace, so they can walk out feeling like rock stars, not like the kids ran them over.
Right. So here's one of the rooms that we redid. They had an extra room next door that we were just using for storage. And so we blew the wall out and we created a space like this. So now they have a massive wall. Now the whole thing isn't decorated with that crazy backdrop with the city behind it, which I think is super fun. It's just the one wall where they do all the lessons. So as the kids are looking at the most graphically interesting area, it's right up where the teacher is teaching. And then you can see a little bit. I kind of put a graphic over Dana's head there.
The teacher at the TV.
The TV is then reinforcing what he's saying. So all these kids that are used to staring at media are catching what he's saying anyway.
You're seeing there an aspect of the preschool curriculum, which is just a bonus freebie with Kid Nation membership. But what you're seeing here is really practical. And a lot of people look at this and think, I can't do that. You know what it is? It's paint, a rug, some buckets, some shelves, and a TV. And when
we've had
become a member, one of the meetings is walking through your room and helping you realize how doable this is.
We've had most of our members do it as a wallpaper. They can just have any wallpaper company. If you're skilled putting up wallpaper, you could do it yourself. One of our members actually painted this on their wall, and it looked just like it. They were crazy. I can't imagine.
Madeira, California. We don't have that in the slides.
I don't.
Someday we'll add
it was
in.
nuts.
She just downloaded the graphic and had someone paint it.
Here's a nursery before that we tackled.
How many of your nurseries look like this? I have visited nursery after nursery, and so many look like this.
Full of broken toys that nobody wanted because their kids are.
Good intent, right? Well, we just blew out a wall and made it like all the other rooms. There's structure, there's plans, there's shelving, there's buckets, and even in nursery this works. And every church we go to, the first couple days, there's kickback. There's no way you can keep a nursery organized with buckets. There's, what? The kids in the nursery know what toys go in what buckets. It's quite miraculous, and that gives peace to the leaders also.
What you don't see in this picture is afterwards we had them go through and take pictures of what each item should be inside these orange bins. You can see it lined up on the wall under the big windows, so that even the teachers and the kids could look at a bucket and then know exactly what goes inside that bucket. And then they also took that same picture and put it on the shelf under the bucket, so that they know where the bucket goes, they know what goes in this bucket, and everything can be laid out the same way for every service. So for those people that are coming in only once a month, they don't have to search for it.
And you're just seeing what we help you do when you become a member. We supply the links, we supply the paint colors, we supply everything you would need for your church to jump on that vision and make it happen for a reasonable price.
Yeah, and so we have different tiers for it. I mean, everything from we do a quick walkthrough with you to we're coming to your church and helping you get your teams to install all this stuff.
Totally
so
your option. If you want
it's
it
up
as
to
one
you.
of your training meetings, great.
Yep.
If you want us to come there, great. If you like your rooms just the way they are, we'll help you just fine tune it.
It's 100%. Here's another after of the nursery. This was actually 2 offices. There was a wall between with a bathroom, and that's how the sink got in there. And it worked out really, really well for them. Here's a elementary. Before this was their elementary. This was their youth. This was their men's breakfast and their fellowship hall. They do all those things, and so they needed a multifunctional room. And so this was their attempt at having a multifunctional room with the thank you with the kids' handprints, made it very kiddie, and yeah. So here is once we were done with it.
Once the volunteers were done with it, we helped direct them in what graphics to get, what walls to paint, things like that. Once they were done, this is what it looked like. And the stage actually can flip in under 5 minutes so that it is a multi-function room. So on the other side, we printed wood print. And so they just flip-flop the stage, and now it's a youth room or men's dinner or whatever they want to use it for. It's a multi-purpose room, which so many in children's ministry, I think, can relate with. So some people just hire us to do their rooms, but with membership, one of your training sessions can include that, or you can bring us in. It's up to you. But that is part of membership. We want a family that works together on a system and procedures that help equip kids in the supernatural, help equip leaders to lead kids in that. And so this is just a small aspect of that.
All right, I'm going to fly through the rest of the pictures because I think you got the idea. Here's an elementary afterwards. I need to put the before in. It's an 8-foot ceiling, and they had a 2.5-foot tall stage, so you can do the math. What's left is any adult in there was ducking, and it was nuts. So this was a solution. It works fantastic.
Kids event there before we redid their stage. Yeah.
And so we can do anything from that to this. This is a 42-foot wide, 18 feet deep stage. That was just the stage. I think our room fits in there right now.
So with membership, you get that. With membership, you get access to use the Kid Nation logo, and you go on to a virtual map, essentially, where anyone can find your Kid Nation location. And as far as your community knows, you're a Kid Nation. So when you have salvation books that say Kid Nation on them, people think that too. It doesn't have our information on it. It has your information on it because you are Kid Nation to your community. And we think this is one of the biggest things missing in children's church today is salvation modules. People, even adults, don't know how to present the salvation message clearly, where it can be understood and accepted. Everybody kind of has a different version, so we thought it was important that everybody be on the same page and that kids actually had something to take home. And really, we made the book so a 6-year-old or a 15-year-old would grasp it, and it wouldn't be a bedtime story. Another thing we do is
well, before we get into that, let's talk about, we totally switched what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
So we were talking about rooms. Now we're talking about KidMin helps. We have tons of KidMin helps out on our website right now because we don't want you to spend hours and hours and hours recreating the wheel or designing something again that your pastor saw somewhere at some church. If you can just download it, it's fully editable and it works for you. Like the salvation module, you can see the binder in the back there.
Yeah, did we forget that most children don't know that they're also called to be a graphic designer when they're called to children's ministry, right? So you got to come up with all your own flyers, your own forms. It's such a waste of time. We can be doing so much more fruitfulness for the kingdom if we weren't recreating these wheels.
So that binder has a fully editable insert in there for you so that you can have anyone on your team walk the kids through your salvation procedure at your church, exactly how your pastor or you want it done without question. We've been part of a church where it wasn't that way, and so we wanted to give you something fully editable with still retaining the graphic coolness with everything else.
And remember, most of the things you see on our site are fully editable. The salvation book is not, is why I say most things, but the module parts are. Or the flyers, like we'll show you next. Parents Night Out. This is one of those things your pastor comes to and says, I have a great idea, you should do this. Yeah. Well, we have a whole kit that you can download and it's done for you. You can order the flyers customized. You can order the flyers so that you can edit them. These are just some examples of what comes with membership, what you have access to. And
you don't have to have them. These are all optional. So same thing with like, I have a worker manual form. If you don't have a policy,
our favorite part.
If you don't have a policy and procedures manual for your children's ministry, you might want to get one so you can keep your kids safe. Or we have like an application checklist. We have some videos you can download to, like right now we had a bunch of our location or our members download. We have an elementary and a preschool video loop of just some things we pulled off of YouTube, and we notate, okay, we got this one from here and this one from here, because it's obviously not our own content, but it was out there on YouTube. So we put it together all in one for them.
And because they're under membership, we're allowed to share it with our location. So
same thing
a
as
pre-service music montage that we provided of all of our locations free. The same as our preschool curriculum. We provide that for free. We have 12 months of preschool curriculum that is developed exactly like our elementary curriculum. And the reason that is we want volunteers to be able to work in and out of any room and be as successful in any room as they are the one they regularly attend. So also, kids will move from class to class. By the time they get to elementary, they got this down. They know how this goes. It doesn't change every time. I mean, adult service, no matter what church you go to, you can expect pretty much the same thing, right? There is some security in that. And when the Holy Spirit moves, when something might change, there's also security in that because you know it's God. So why do we veer structure in all of our different rooms and make it harder for kids to graduate, move up, and feel a part, rather than individualized of all their rooms?
So each one of the preschool series, there's 12 different series with four weeks in there, and you get an editable Word doc. You can see a picture of that, and then slides to go along with that on the screen, so that when they go to elementary, it's not like culture shock. It's the same thing. They're going to get the slides with a similar style service, but not exactly. But the nice thing is, if you have a team that has to shift back and forth between rooms, it won't be totally foreign to them because it's the same style of Word doc with the arrows showing you when to click all the way through.
We'll show you that in a minute. There's also monthly roundtables. We have online roundtables, whether we're speaking about a subject or we're having one of our many, gosh, that's a really good picture. Whether we're having a discussion with you or we're having special speakers on. We have some great speakers lined up for this next year on subjects like, oh my gosh, of course I'm forgetting. Kids camps and outreaches on how to make worship exciting in your room, special needs ministry. I can't wait for that one. So these are just roundtables that are included with membership. And of course they're optional also. But, that was a nice picture.
You like that?
All right, so anyway, our goal is to keep.
I want to put that picture up.
What, this one?
Yeah, because we've talked about room redos. We've talked about curriculum helps, or not curriculum helps, Kidmin helps.
Yeah.
But now we realize one of the biggest things that was a massive time consumer for every children's pastor was the curriculum. Because I don't know if you've done it. I've totally been there. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm retyping this PDF curriculum that was supplied, and it doesn't fit with how my church believes or the words that we would even use to walk these kids into a truth. I know
or it's 10 minutes of the service. I'm new to this curriculum and realize, oh my gosh, I have 45 more minutes to come up with, and they didn't provide it. That's like, or they provided like this much of it, and now I've got to come up with visuals and object lessons to make it work, right? Or the 20 things they have for me to purchase to run it, which I know they mean well, but when it comes down to realistic schedules, it can be very overwhelming.
And so that's why we developed our elementary curriculum, which has 36 different series
monthly.
That each month is a different theme, but the layout and the structure is the same. So the themes change, which makes it exciting for the kids. It's something new. It's something cool. This is fun. But for your team that's only serving in there once or twice a month, they're coming in and it's the same structure, even though the look of it is different. They know how to flow with it, and they can be comfortable ministering in that situation without feeling like they have to relearn a brand new curriculum every single time they're in there.
Yeah, and there's a great question there. You saw the LADS songs listed. Okay, the LADS, whether or not you go with membership or not, please check them out.
They're amazing.
In our preschool room. We use the moving song.
The moving song.
Yeah. Okay. If we forget to put it in the slides, the kids revolt. Like literally, like both 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. They just can't wait. And sometimes if kids get dropped off late, that song will be started, and they're like, they're like, I missed it. So the lads are phenomenal. Now we actually are in works with them to include some of their music in our curriculum. As of right now, each individual song has to be purchased separately, but we only use 2 of them.
We really only use the moving song. We suggest one other for in the series, but it's not included. We have other songs.
But we do have worship songs included in the curriculum. Not from the lads currently, but we are working on it because they are phenomenal. They're fabulous. And there's 3 in particular that we're working on them with. So that was a great question. But we do include worship. So, and if we don't have the rights to the worship song, we actually put the link of where to get it, how to get it, and how to put it right into your slides. We train you on that so that if there's one that goes really good with the theme, that you can access it and maybe you haven't heard of it before. So very good question.
So the curriculum we developed is built to save you time.
Right.
We have every week comes with a editable Word document that actually takes you all the way from this is the countdown to when service is starting all the way through to here's ending announcements and we're closing the room down so we can go home to our families and everything possible in between. So there's offering, there's worship, there's all kinds of stuff. And it's not just a Word document. We also include slides with it so that it's visually interesting for the kids. We have such a media generation that if we didn't have visuals, we'd be losing them. But instead of just providing a really swanky 10-minute video and then
swanky.
I want a swanky video.
Swanky. No, I don't even know what that means. I don't know. Instead of a really nice 7-minute video, not that our videos aren't nice, we don't want the teaching to be predominantly done from a video. We want the media to back up the teacher, the leader, the volunteer, or you, the pastor. So
we do still use some videos in the curriculum, but that's not where the kids are going to get their spiritual growth from. They're going to look to your team as their leaders because we want to reinforce them as leaders so that when your kids are going through something difficult, they don't turn to media to try to get their answers. They can turn to you, and they can turn to your team.
This fully editable curriculum for 36 months, and we're adding more all the time. We're actually currently working on an inner healing curriculum. It's going to be amazing.
Inner healing sounds scary.
Inner healing sounds scary. It's really, it's mind renewal.
It's renewing the mind.
It's recognizing the lies that maybe you've internalized and allowed to be there and how to get rid of them. I mean, but essentially that's inner healing. I mean, the Bible talks very specifically, anyway, I won't go into that. It is all about taking authority over your thoughts and making sure you're thinking what God thinks of you and not what's been put in through the world, through parents, through whatever, unintentionally that doesn't line up with what God has for you. But the 36 that we have go in progression. So you don't just go out there and pick one. This is important for us to say because we are big on review and we are big on purpose. So these kids literally start off with, who is God anyway? It is God Goggle.
Well, it looks kind of like it, but whatever. It's the series is called "Who Is God?"
Yeah, the point is,
who are you, God?
That He has more answers than the internet, and as we get to know Him, we can understand that He is the source that will give us our guidance and our direction, and then everything follows each other. So the next month's series, God's Glue, will reflect on God Google, right? And the next month after that, God's Secret Agent will reflect on God's Glue and God Google. Do you know what I mean? So it continues to go. We're big on review. We're big on retention. And we're big on building individuals and leaders so they know where they left off and where they're going rather than just kind of popping all over.
Yeah.
And because it's fully editable, you can also make it what you need. This is one of our favorite parts is if something is happening in your community, you can make your review question something you need. You can make your scripture what you need. You can change a screen that is talking about something very specific into something that went on at a school in your community or is going on in your community with maybe drug abuse you can change your slides to be what you need while sticking within the theme that is already prepared for you. So God Google, some of you have seen this. Diary of a Weird Kid, one of our favorites. It's the first one we ever let out to the public, but it's actually a 2-month series, and it's phenomenal. WEIRDS is an acronym. We like acronyms a lot because kids seem to latch onto those and remember them. But this will show you a sample. We have scripture races. That's very big to us. We'll actually work with you on how to run these services. We'll train your team, or we'll train you so you can train your team, either one, so that you feel confident when you start this curriculum. So everything has music, not everything, almost every slide has music on it, setting atmosphere. Because I don't know about you, but most of the children's pastors don't have their own worship band. So the slides have music on them, they have movement on them, they have scripture on them, but they are fully editable. So if you needed to change this scripture because the Lord was telling you to, you could, and the scripture race would then be what you changed it to. And that goes with every slide. So transitions are there. You know, sound effects are there, everything to help keep their attention on what you are doing and what the Lord is leading.
And reinforcing the points that you're making through the lesson so that it actually can be retained. So they're not just hearing it, but they're seeing it and they're getting distracted by things that were reinforcing what you're saying. So that's our Weird series. I think most of you guys have seen that already. So I'm going to show you one of you probably haven't seen.
I'm going to answer a question real quick. That's really good. If you're going to progression, does it line up with Christmas or Easter? We do have an extra month series that's available every year, which would include like access to a Christmas curriculum or one you can do for Easter. So that's a really good question. If you're sticking with doing very focused lessons on seasons, you have that option.
So here is the Mountain Movers series. This comes right after our evangelism series. So we have month 7 of your first year is all about evangelism, teaching kids not only how to be saved. Well, that's month 6 is how to be saved. Month 7 is how to help others be saved. And then month 8 is Mountain Movers. It's super fun. Lots of candy. Mountain Movers, you can't help but do M&M with that. And so we have M&M everything.
M&Ms, we've all learned that, right? Regular M&Ms. But we put tons of links. When you go to the webpage to download, you have access to songs, access to where to buy M&Ms the cheapest, access, ideas that other locations have had. You have access to all of that. So you don't have to go searching for it. It's already there if you want it.
So the goal of it is to provide a super fun services so that now the kids can put into practice all the things they learned on the last month on evangelism. So they're inviting kids, and we have contests we would suggest to do of who can bring in the most first-time visitors and how many salvations can we get this month. If it hits X amount of number, we're going to have a big party, whatever. And so we make it super fun and builds one another. And so then, actually, let me show full screen.
Yep. I see that question. That's a great question. I'll answer it in just a moment about the training. This goes full screen to show you the curriculum full screen. Mountain Movers, remember that with your membership, you get the number of memory verse cards that you sign up for. So as many kids as you have in your elementary, we do elementary only memory verse cards right now, you will also have shipped to you every 4 months. So this one has a round one that literally looks like an M&M, and the kids love this one too. But almost every series has a song that it also goes with the memory verse and the memory verse card. So this particular one is,
I love this one.
I can't say favorite anymore.
It says, well, you can read what it says. And then on a click, it'll loop here forever. So if you want to talk about this and all of a sudden these ideas are popping in your head and you're like, oh, this would be good, and you're bringing all those examples, all the slides are set up so that you can stay there forever.
And still have
you don't have to progress.
Still setting the atmosphere. If God leads you somewhere else, you just leave that slide the way it is and stay there. Or if you're ready to move on, this lines up with your order.
And then you just click.
You know what your next click is.
We suggest the presentation remotes for this so that you can be anywhere in the remote or anywhere in the room. Or you can have somebody in the sound booth just click the forward space bar, whatever. And there it goes.
Yeah. Renewing your mind to God's word. Mountain Movers, the focus of the whole thing is the mountains in most of our lives exist between our ears. Now that Jesus has come and given us authority, any mountains that kind of rise up in our life come first from the lies of the enemy that we allow to come in and stay. So that's Mountain Movers.
But again, it's fully editable. So let me give you a quick glimpse into that. I'm going to pull, this is the last piece that shows up in there. Let's say instead of how does God want you to get rid of those mountains in your life, by speaking Bible verses. We'll say that.
But now it's there, and you've made it what you want.
You can make it whatever you want, and I just put it back in the same spot. So now when we play, there's our sweet, fun little animations. Okay. I'm gonna, on a click, here comes by speaking Bible verses.
You've made it what you need,
yep.
If you want to. Now you would change that on your Word document also. We'll show you that in a second. But other than that, that took almost 60 seconds, and you're done. Or if
yep.
you change a verse, but you literally have your whole service from beginning to end. Now, there was a good question before you went full screen. When you're looking at these slides, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, when would the training happen? When you sign up as a member, we have training, online sessions just like this, where we take you through while you're on your computer, testing it out. You've already downloaded your first month, and we literally are taking you through how to edit your Word document and your slides. And honestly, it happens in an hour or less because it is so simple.
It is really simple. We take all the hard work so that you can save time on the curriculum. So here's another one. I'm going to fly through these next ones just because I don't want to suck up all the time. That's really it. So here's an example of our Old Testament one. Our Old Testament. This is our Books of the Bible one. So you can train your kids how to find the scriptures in their own Bible. So it's not just a book that they bring to church or they see on the coffee table, but they know how to look things up and find where these different verses are. And so we do all kinds of fun stuff. It's built as more where games keep interrupting the lesson. And but the game is something like, well, I'll show you. It's like this, where you're teaching away and all of a sudden this pops up and you're like, wait, what? Okay, let's figure this out. And then we're going to go on. And it has all these options, and the kids have to figure out if it's a New Testament or an Old Testament book of the Bible. And so you can do it with Bibles or without or whatever.
We did the first one to stand up on one leg and like hold their nose or something. It was like we had something random, but the first one that did that got to come up and say the answers, and then they got a prize. This is also a fun series. In your extras folder, this little Bible comes that looks just like the series. And it's written up, hey, we recommend that you hide this around the room every week. And if the kids find it, you give them this puzzle, which is also included in your extras folder. And then they can bring the puzzle back for a prize or prize bucks or whatever. So fun stuff like that is added into almost every curriculum where you don't have to go searching for these things to make service fun. And exciting for the kids.
And again, you could stay on any slide as long as you want. So if one of the kids answers Jeremiah and you're like, yes, that's right. Now, what do we need to know about Jeremiah? You can take as long as you want on this. And then, so each piece comes in on a click, and then there's a big celebration at the end.
And your sound effects are already there provided for you. So you don't have to worry about that or have someone standing nearby with a sound effects machine to make it a little more fun.
Although that would be pretty cool if you could. This is my favorite one. I love this one.
He always has to show this one. It is a good one.
It's just awesome. I mean, look at that. Do you like how high I said that? I tried to say it a little higher.
Awesome. Heroes are born, they transform. It's talking about God has a destiny for your life, but you've got to get on track with that destiny. It's actually really, really impacting.
It's all about choice. It's up to you. God's got a plan for you to be transformed. How transformed you want to be, and then the level of transformation that you choose increases or let me say this, you can affect more people for God the more you allow him to transform you. Let's say it that way.
Because as children of God, we are heroes to this world. We just get to decide what impact or how big of heroes will be.
And so I wanted to show you this one, honestly, because it's one of our least editable ones because of animations like this, where it goes from ticket time to rules. But we tried to make it as editable as possible. So even though it has that rules that pops up, now here comes our rules. There's honor God.
Okay,
honor your neighbor.
The idea, but if you wanted to make it your own, there are still editable parts, the scriptures, the rules, things like that you could still make your own. Even though you couldn't maybe change in this series tickets or rules, you'd be able to change what the rules under the graphic are or what the scripture under scripture race is. So he's just showing you that simply, so that when you see this, you aren't overwhelmed. You realize how easy we try to make it. And we always say it's more like we give you the fish and teach you how to fish. And the fun thing is, say you have videos from other curriculum that you really like. We even show you how you can drag those in. If they work with an object lesson or a certain series that you're in, you can still pull those in without affecting your whole service. You still have all 75 slides from start countdown to end countdown. And when we train you, we talk about the end countdown and how important it is and equip you on that. But
we'll talk about that in just a second. Here's the rules that I just edited in what? 4 seconds, 8 seconds, something like that. Whoa, low God. You can see how good editing I am.
Don't edit your slides.
Should have been love God.
He changed it. Ours are honor God, honor your neighbor, and have an attitude of gratitude. So we believe these are life rules besides our room rules. So if we can have them understand those as life rules, and they can apply them in our room, hopefully they can apply them out in life also.
And if you needed 4 rules, you can make it 4 rules. I just duplicated. We can show you all that. Whoa. So let me go to, while you're still staring at my screen. So here is our Christmas series. This is the one that I edited for our church. So we just did this a couple weeks ago. And so you can see I got everything in here. Here's our countdown right there from the very beginning. Then it goes to welcome. Here's our series slide.
And that's what the memory verse card looks like.
It has videos. We started off with a fun song. This one's Bubble. They don't even, you cannot buy the song anymore.
No, you can't.
But it's amazing. But there's prayer. There's tickets. There's the rules. There is tithe and offering is in here.
And then show them on the order service how it matches.
And so then in here,
all 75 slides also appear on your order of service, what your team will probably get, and that's what you are following as you go. So it starts with literally how long a service you have, what you're assigning, to who's assigned to what, which we talk about, which is a little word. There it is, which we train you on. We think this is one of the most important things that sometimes is
really helps.
Ministry. People knowing what's required of them, and then it goes right into service, and everything that has an arrow means it also has a slide that corresponds with it. So literally, if you change a slide, you'd want to change your order of service. But other than that, the reason it's fully editable is because we want you to go with the Spirit. You could run it as is, but if you need to change something, you don't have to retype it. You don't have to copy and paste it. You can just work right in it. But the only learning curve is you have to make sure you're installing your fonts before you open anything, because we are doing something so different than what's been done before. That's probably the biggest learning curve.
So you can see in the here review, I have God is love right here, and then I have over here, here's my God is love on an arrow. Now I'm getting to the next one. God is like a coach. There's the click to bring the question up, and the orange coach comes in on another click. So it literally takes you all the way through. So if you edit one, you got to make sure you edit the other. But we go through talking.
So you'll see that the kids start to resonate with what they learned last month in that review before they go on to the next. And then this is just a sample of one of the worship songs that's included. Yep,
so worship is included. You can obviously swap them out, and we show you how to do that. Chat and check is our prayer time we do after worship, where we teach kids not just to rattle off a want list from God, but also to check with Him.
Later. Well, let's get back
all the way through.
We just wanted to show you that you literally have the whole service done for you. 36 different months. There are 32 different themes, because a couple are 2 months long, like weird. However, you have full editable rights to that curriculum at your location. So here's just a couple. These are the memory verse cards that come with just a few of the series.
So the backside
is the verse. And then you have access to our prize bucks. You have access to our ticket system. You have access to our tickets and rules and how we run the room, and so you have access to all those things in membership. So I hope we didn't creatively throw up on you. We do this often. We talk about what we do. Not everybody understands it if we don't do this, because we genuinely want to equip the children's pastors with the monthly roundtables, with the stuff we have available on our site, with the memory verse cards that come to you. These kids are a mandate. You've been called for a reason, and we want to equip you to reach them on the deepest impact you can. So without taking time away from your family, without stripping you of all your desire to do children's ministry because you're so tired of doing it all, right? So that's why we do what we do, and please feel free to ask questions. Yes, that was Keynote that we showed you. We are working series by series to provide it in PowerPoint. So Weird was our first that we provided, and we have we're changing them over one by one. So we
will get there. We love Keynote and its editability and how it can layer and everything. PowerPoint has came a long ways in the past few years, and so we're able to finally use it. For our biggest thing before was you couldn't do moving backgrounds. If you put a video and overlaid over the text, and that just didn't work. And a good
majority of what we do, our video game series, I mean, that's like all moving background. So it's like, that one's fun. You pretend like you're playing a game. It's called the Faith series. Anyway, so
hopefully we didn't overwhelm you. This is some of the things that are included with members. Also, what we didn't cover is there's a ton of things on our website, and as members, there's most of the things I would have to say you get significant discounts on, especially like if it's a download, you'll get a really good cut off the price for that.
And then outside of the monthly member or monthly webinars and your 2 trainings that come complimentary with membership, we follow up with our locations. You can make an appointment with us to Zoom at any time on the website. You know, you say, I've got questions. I have
Zoom
to talk to
is a web
you.
online chat.
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. So you just make an appointment on our website and we can meet with you. So this is a family that's growing together. So we are accessible. Some of our assistants might be accessible to get back to if we're not right away. But the point is that we're building each other to do what God's called us to do. Sharpening each other, providing as many things as we can, and getting answers to questions as fast as we can.
Dan also asked if they become members, do they have to change their kids ministry name to Kid Nation? It used to be yes back in the day until we realized that's kind of silly. That restricts people from being able to get the help that we're offering.
Well, please know the reason that we did that is because the logo is on everything. So, for instance, there's Kid Nation Madeira, there's Kid Nation Branson, but one was like
Power Kids,
Kid Nation, right? So the logo is on the Memory Verse cards. The logo is already on most things you download. The logo's on the prize box if you choose to run the prize system. So the point was you have the right to adopt the logo and be called Kid Nation. We have T-shirts. We have Kid Nation CIA. So when we train you, we have a module for your kids' leadership that include binders and things like that already has the logo on it. So it's not required, but you have access to use that logo and be called a Kid Nation if you would like, because it's already on everything. And as far as people know, you're Kid Nation. Or there was like one of our Michigan locations is OC Kids Kid Nation, right? So OC Kids is the umbrella of the kids. Kid Nation is the elementary. So that's a great
they
question.
renamed the room instead of the ministry.
Yeah. And what is the cost for membership? That's great. We're not going to tell you that. We're actually going to end it right now. No, I'm just kidding.
So here's the sweet deal. With membership, you get the steep discounts on our site. You get an access to all of those helps, the Kingdom In helps that we talked about, plus extra ones that we only offer to members. You'll get the 12 months of preschool and the 36 months series for elementary, and those are all included in the membership price.
So you can only download one a month. Like you have access to one series a month, so that someone couldn't like get a month membership and download 36 months, right? You have access to 1 month of preschool, 1 month of elementary a month, and you are shipped 4 months at a time memory verse cards, as many as you signed up for under your membership. So like if you want 1,000 memory verse cards, your membership might be a little elevated than it would at 50 memory verse cards every month. But other than that, your membership is based around the number of kids you have in your ministry. So online, you would go to sign up for a membership and you would just say, I have 100 to 250 kids. You're probably looking at, I don't even know what the monthly fee is for that, 100 and 150 kids.
If you have 100, I think it's like $150 a month, something like that. And that includes all your memory verse cards and everything else. But we're doing a special right now up until the end of the year. Do we want to tell them about that?
So there is a join fee. The join fee covers the personalized training, the 2 meetings. You get a whole access to the manual, the logo, t-shirt sent to you, a bag with a bunch of goodies in it, a few salvation books, all this stuff that is included with the sign-up fee. So we have discounted the sign-up fee for Christmas at 75% off.
That's ridiculous.
So I know, I'm like, honestly, if we could, we'd give it away free. Really, you're buying the time it takes for us to train you guys and the things that we ship to you on that initial. And this is not even covering that. But you would still get your 2 trainings. You will still get your intro packet. You will still have the same access as everyone else. But you will save 75% on the initial join fee that gets you all that stuff. And then you would start your monthly fee after that, which gives you access to the curriculum and things, because we encourage people normally to wait about a half to a month before they start running the curriculum, so we can make sure they're confident after training and things, where they're going forward.
And their team is confident.
Where they're going forward to be successful at it and not just, let's try this, right?
Yeah. Wait, can I make it even sweeter of a deal?
No.
That's obnoxious. We've never even got close to a 75% discount. That is crazy.
What are you doing?
So let's do, if it's a church of 45 kids or less, that from 0 to 12, I'm gonna cover their first month then also.
Okay, so 75% off the join fee, and if you're a small church of how many kids or less?
45.
If you're a small church of 45 kids or less, then he's going to cover your first month. Also,
we're at home and we're about to be invaded.
We just got invaded. I'm going to sneak out in a minute. I'll be right back. My name's Mama on the side, by the way.
So we have 2 kids. They were up there watching a video, but evidently that is ending. So anyway, 75% off. I'll soak it up so that same coupon code works for the church of 45 or less. I can set that up. So I'll have that done within a couple minutes after this webinar. Is there any other questions? No, you can't see our kids. They're already in PJs. I got 2 kids. I can maybe put a picture up on the screen behind me.
Of what?
The kids.
Well, they're cute. Any other questions?
I don't think that's really a question.
What?
It's a demand.
You sure? Kidmin Academy, is there any other discounts? 75% is about as good as we can do right now, but
that is big.
I do know that's probably a lot to cross over if you're paying for your Kidmin Academy also right now. So just let us know what your budget is. Message us separately, email us. You can reach us at our website by hitting the contact button, or Kate at kidnation.org, Josh at kidnation.org, Kate at kidnationministries.com. So many ways to reach us. Reach out if you need the help. Obviously, we are not going to shut you down. We want to really help people.
For sure. Yeah, our goal is to help people not to become billionaires off of the children's ministry, commercialism engine, whatever. We've
been called to help children's ministers. We haven't been called to be our own providers. That's what we always remind ourselves, is we are not our own providers. We have been called to do this. So we are finding ourselves working with people all the time with good hearts who want to do this and do it right. So please message us privately if you think it's something that your church could not handle.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Persa says she really needs the training. Yes, that is a big part, and you'll see how easy it is.
Yeah.
Our goal is to free you up so that you can be who God's called you to be. I'll type our emails in this chat window.
Yep.
Maybe.
And we can't wait to help you guys, honestly. Between the training sessions and the curriculum, you are going to feel like, you know how everybody wants a mentor in their life? You're going to feel like someone believes in you, and not only believes in you, but is giving you what you need to do what it is they believe you can do. And God wouldn't put you in this position if you couldn't. And we're here to come alongside of you and help you do it wherever you are, whatever church you're at. So you just let us know.
So I have to apologize. I put Josh and Kate at kidnation.org, but really the fastest way, the quickest way to get a response from us is to do one of the second ones, Josh at kidnationministries.com, for whatever reason.
Any questions that you might have once this video ends. Anyone else have questions, feel free to type them. If not, email them to us when we end this.
Yeah.
We are recording this and we will be mailing it out to those that registered, so you will be able to watch this again. But if you have additional questions, let us know. And also remember, I think most of you have tried the Weird curriculum, the 1 week free, which kind of gives you a sample of what it's like to have the editability, where you have to download the fonts first. But if you have not, on our site, you can go download week 1 of Weird and kind of get a sample of what it would be like to have a fully editable curriculum. Just remember to read or watch the videos that come after you download that say, here's how to install a font, so that you don't open it and it looks very strange. So Josh has also just put that link there for the free curriculum if anyone hasn't tried it. Can we pay for the room consultations? Yes.
For sure, yes.
There is a spot on our site where you can say, hey, I want a room consultation.
Yep.
You absolutely can. Now, I will say, anyone we've done a room consultation for up until this point have started the curriculum after. No pressure.
That's to scare you.
That's not to scare you, no pressure. But we design rooms to run well on a structure and a process. As much as possible. So we develop our curriculum in the same way, but you absolutely, whether you have us in or you want to do it through web chat, either can happen. We do both because we realize some churches can't afford to bring in people. And if we can save you that money to put towards your design, we'd rather meet with you here. So absolutely. He put that link there just for room design. So thank you guys for joining so much. We had such a fun group here with really great questions. And again, if we end and we haven't answered your question yet, please message us in the links that we provided. And we hope to talk to you all soon. If we don't talk to you before the new year, Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And Happy New Year to all of you.
All right. We'll see you all later.